Welcome back, Beaver Nation, to another edition of the Beaver Sports Show. Joining me once again is Alex Crawford, and I'm Boon Kruger. Well, we have a great show for you planned tonight, as we'll break down what the men's basketball team needs to do to snap their 5-game losing streak this weekend, as Utah and Colorado come into Gill Coliseum.
The women's basketball team completed the series sweep over the Ducks down in Eugene this weekend. Gymnastics looks to remain undefeated as they take on number 7 Utah. And the men's baseball team travels to Surprise, Arizona to compete in another tournament this coming weekend.
We'll have this much and more. You're watching the Beaver Sports Show on KBVR TV. Stay tuned.
From the KBVR TV studio on the campus of Oregon State University, this is the Beaver Sports Show.
After beating Oregon in the first meeting of the Civil War in Eugene, the men's basketball team looked to go for the sweep this past weekend in the 337th edition of the Civil War basketball game. Sunday's game certainly lived up to the rivalry hype as the Ducks and Beavers battled back and forth all game long. Unfortunately for Oregon State, early foul trouble and missed free throws doomed the Beavers in the end as they fell to Oregon 74-73. In front of a sellout crowd, the Beavers dropped a heartbreaker to the Ducks at Gill Coliseum. Oregon's Garrett Sim had one of the best games of his career that will certainly go down in the history books as he scored 25 points, shooting 10 for 14 from the field and 4 for 7 from beyond the arc. Oregon State's Jared Cunningham battled early foul trouble, which hindered his playing time throughout the game. He was able to contribute 13 points for the Beavers. However, the rest of his teammates picked up the slack as Ahmad Stark shot 7 for 10 from the field for 18 points, and Angus Brandt scored 16 points before fouling out late in the game. With just under 16 minutes left in the game and down 10 points, Oregon State was able to rally to make an exciting ending. With 40 seconds left, Devon Collier grabbed an offensive rebound and laid the ball in to make it 71-73. The Beavers had another opportunity, but Eric Moreland was called for a questionable foul as he and Olu Ashalu went for a rebound. The foul on Moreland resulted in the Ducks being able to go to the free throw line, where Ashalu made 1 of 2 free throws. That set up the final opportunity for the Beavers with 10 seconds left in the game. Freshman Charlie Barton had an open look at a three-pointer and just missed the game-tying shot with 3 seconds left. Jared Cunningham was able to dunk the missed shot with 2 seconds left. However, there was not one more last chance for the Beavers, as the Ducks were able to inbound the ball and run out the clock. After the game, Oregon State head coach Craig Robinson talked to the media.
That was it was a classic rivalry battle, and we came out on the losing end. And I don't think it was because of effort. I was really pleased with our intensity, our effort, our hard work. We finally came out matching the other team's effort. Crowd was terrific. I think what it came down to was that we're intangibles. It was the loose balls, the rebounds that you have to get, not making a foul there on that last one when you get a guy to miss a shot and you get the rebound, and we fouled the guy. So I'd like to blame it on youth, but I can't. We got to start executing. We're not young anymore. We've been through a lot of wars, and if you want to be good, you have to win games like this, especially when you have a sold-out crowd and you're playing against a team that's fighting to get to the NCAA tournament.
Well, it's certainly a disappointing weekend for the men's basketball team as they dropped this Civil War game and lost their 5th straight conference game in a row. Alex, how did the Beavers break out of this funk as Utah and Colorado come to Corvallis this weekend?
Well, last season the Beavers didn't win a road game in the Pac-10 as it was last year, and I asked Coach Robinson earlier this year, what's the key to getting that first road win? And he said, the key to getting road wins is getting your first road win. So the key to breaking out of any losing streak is getting that first win. And once you get that first win, you get a little bit of that confidence back. As confident as Coach Robinson and the players say they are, I think that getting a win will truly bring a whole new level of confidence back to this team. So what do they need to do? Well, they need to win to break out of the losing streak. What do they need to do against Utah? Well, they need to play Utah like they did when they played them earlier this season. They beat them by 18 points in Salt Lake City earlier. Obviously, that was on, I think February 5th or 8th, almost a month ago. But obviously, this team has the talent's there. They've lost a lot of games by a low amount of points. So, it's just the little things. They got to get out there. They got to play the full 40 minutes. They got to execute. So, just do the little things, really, because this team's been there. We saw on Sunday. Mm-hmm. They barely lost to Oregon, who is vying for a top 4 conference spot. So, I mean, when you look at the upcoming game against Utah, what do you think the team needs to do?
I really agree with you, Alex. I think it's going to take the little things, and they just haven't been able to put it together at the end. They've lost close games all season long in conference play, so I really look for that to change this weekend as Utah comes to town, and Utah is certainly one of the worst teams in the conference, and the Beavers really manhandled them on the road the last time they played each other. So I'd look for them to do much of the same tonight as they play each other, but Colorado coming to town, it's going to be a much tougher game.
Oh, yeah.
Colorado is one of the better teams in the conference, but then again, it's always at Gill Coliseum that the Beavers play their best basketball, it seems like. And so I think that it's going to be another great game. It's going to come down to the wire, and I think if the Beavers do win tonight, they'll have that momentum going for them. Like you said, it's the little things to get them going. I think they can potentially get the win against Colorado, and then who knows what could happen in the conference tournament, but it's certainly going to be tough. What's the key player for you this weekend to get it going for Oregon State?
Well, last week I said you got to pound the ball inside. You got to work it inside out. I said Devon Collier, but after he hurt his knee on Sunday, I'm not going to say pound the ball inside to Devon Collier because I know he's just he's not going to be playing at the same level that he has been all season. So I'm going to stick with a guy that I've been going to all season, my go-to, Jared Cunningham, Pac-12 Player of the Year candidate. Get him the ball. Get him the ball scoring as much as possible. You see it with the Los Angeles Lakers when they're down a little bit, when it's late in the game. What do? They have Kobe drive to the hoop, get fouled, get the other team's players in foul trouble, and get to the line, shoot free throws, and make free throws. And that's how the Lakers come back, and that's how the Lakers, over the last 10 seasons, have been able to be one of the best teams in the league. It's because they get their star player to the line, and they get the ball in their star player's hands in the third and fourth quarters, or for college basketball, the second half. So I'm going to go with Jared Cunningham. I think he has another, he's been doing real well. I think he has another big weekend, and I think it's got to take over.
I certainly agree with you. What do you make of a comment that Coach Robinson made after the Civil War loss, and that he didn't think that Jared Cunningham was being treated by the officials as one of the top players in the conference?
Oh, I agree with Coach Robinson wholeheartedly. I mean, I've been seeing it all season long, especially against the Washington game. I saw Cunningham. I saw a lot of players getting knocked to the ground all the time. And as you know, in college basketball and pro basketball, star players, they get the calls. That's just the way the game works. That's the way it's always worked. And Cunningham, he, in my opinion, I'm a Beaver homer, but in my opinion, he is the Pac-12 Player of the Year and certainly one of the best players in the conference. Doesn't get the calls he deserves. And I agree with Robinson. Regardless of what team you're rooting for, the officiating was very poor in Sunday's game. So obviously the Pac-12 has to come out and reprimand Robinson for saying that. But I'm glad he stepped up and said that because the officiating was very poor.
And you definitely like to see your head coach do that when you are a player and your head coach has your back no matter what. And he'll cross the line for you and put himself at risk of getting in trouble by the league. That definitely has to go a long way for the players. Alex, do you have a prediction for this weekend?
Yeah, accuse me of drinking the orange Kool-Aid a bit too much, but I think the Beavers sweep. I think they get off this 5-game losing streak that they're on. I think they break it with a win against the, they're not as bad as USC, but they are having a pretty bad season. Utah, I think they get a win against Utah, and then Colorado's doing really well. Colorado beat up on our Beavs when they were over in
Boulder.
Boulder earlier. So I think that they get a win against Colorado, and I think they go into the Pac-12 tournament with a little bit of momentum.
I'd love to see that. And one thing that you have to love about this team is no matter what, if they're on a 5-game losing streak, coming into the Civil War, the team plays all out all the time. They don't hang their heads no matter what the record is, and no matter if the season has been a little bit of a disappointment for the guys. They continuously show up ready to play and bring out that great effort. And I think that's going to pay off this weekend. I would love to see the sweep. It might be hard to do.
What's your prediction?
Well, my prediction, obviously, tonight they're going to win. And then it just depends on Saturday.
If they win tonight, they win
tonight, they can win tomorrow or on Saturday. So I really think this team has it going for them. I'm going to go with the sweep. I think on senior night, they're going to honor the one senior, Kevin McShane, and get the win for him.
McShane double-double?
McShane double-double. I think he'll play more than 15 minutes. I think
really?
Robinson
Okay.
will let him play.
I'm going to go with 12 minutes.
12 minutes. All right, we'll see. We'll talk about it a lot on the radio show for sure. Well, we'll have more of the Beaver Sports Show coming up after this quick commercial break.
Continuing their extremely successful season, the women's basketball team defeated Oregon 68-53 down in Eugene on Saturday to earn the season sweep over the Ducks and improve to 18-9 on the season. With more on women's basketball, here is Beaver Sports Show reporter Hannah Seaman.
The women's basketball team used a strong second-half performance to come back from a 7-point halftime deficit to win 68-53. Behind strong games from Alicia Marshbanks and Patricia Bright, the Beavers have now won their 7th out of 9 games. Junior Patricia Bright broke the single-season school record for blocks as she recorded 5 against the Ducks, which set her single-season mark at 95 on the year. Bright also scored 14 points in 27 minutes of play. Marshbanks led the Beavers once again as she scored 19 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists. After the Ducks had narrowed the Beavers' lead to 52-47 in the second half, Marshbanks hit a big three-pointer, which provided the Beavers the final spark they needed to hold off the Ducks. With the win, the Beavers improved their record to 18-9 overall and 9-6 in conference play. Oregon State now travels to Utah and Colorado, while they will close out their regular season before heading to the Pac-12 tournament.
Thanks, Hannah. The gymnastics team took on the Boise State Broncos last Friday at Gill Coliseum. The 8th-ranked Beavers, who have won all their meets so far this season, look to keep their momentum going as they took on another top 25 foe. With more on another impressive performance by the Beavers, here is Sports Show reporter David Raymer.
Last Friday night, the gymnastics team hosted the number 16 Boise State Broncos at legendary Gill Coliseum. The 8th-ranked Beavs look to continue their momentum after defeating the California Golden Bears and getting a tie against number 7 UCLA with a score of 196.775. Going into the meet, Michaela Stambaugh earned the title of Pac-12 Gymnast of the Week, and Leslie Mack claimed the Pac-12 Weekly All-Around Performance honors. The Beavs are ranked 2nd in the nation in uneven bars and 3rd in the nation in the floor exercise. In front of a large crowd, the Beavers look to put their undefeated record on the line.
The undefeated 8th-ranked Beavers gymnastics team played host last Friday night to the 16th-ranked Boise State Broncos. During the first rotation, the Broncos were on the uneven bars, while the Beavs took on the vault. Brittany Harris and Chelsea Tang both scored 9.825, but leading the Beavers were Kelsey Blaylock and Michaela Stambaugh, both with scores of 9.875. The Beavs and the Broncos switched events for the second rotation. On the uneven bars, Michaela Stambaugh turned in a consistent 9.875. Australian Olivia Vivian and Canadian Leslie Mack both turned in team-topping 9.90s. For the third rotation, the Beavers hit the balance beam, and the Broncos went to the floor exercise. The top 3 Beavers on the beam were Olivia Vivian with a 9.825, Melanie Jones with a 9.85, and Leslie Mack with a 9.90. Both teams switched events again for the fourth rotation. The floor exercise was the highest scoring team event for the Beavers. The team combined for 49.25 points. Melanie Jones scored a 9.875, while Leslie Mack and Michaela Stambaugh contributed 9.90 performances. At the end of the night, the Beavers outscored the Broncos on all 4 events on their way to victory. The gymnastics team remains undefeated with a final score of 196.875 to 195.375.
The baseball team traveled to San Diego last weekend to play in the San Diego State Tournament. After winning the first game, they finished up at 2-2. With more on baseball, here's Beaver Sports Show reporter Corinne Smith.
The Beaver baseball team headed to Southern California Thursday morning for the second time in 2 weeks for a 4-game series in sunny San Diego. Oregon State took on Pacific on Thursday evening to start the weekend in Cunningham Stadium. John Tomasini had 3 hits and Ryan Dunn brought in 3 runs to lead the team to a 10-4 victory. Ryan Barnes, Danny Hayes, and Kevin Kais also made big strides for the Beavers with 2 hits apiece. Ben Wetzler made the start for the Beavers and allowed 8 hits, 6 runs over 5 full innings. He left the game in the 6th in favor of reliever Taylor Starr, who worked 3 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits and a run with 2 strikeouts. Star was replaced by Matt Boyd, who received his first save of the season by getting the last 2 outs for the Beavs. Wetzler took the win, improving his season 2-0. The Beavers then moved to Tony Gwynn Stadium Friday night, where they faced an 18-2 loss to the Aztecs, who early on took the lead. Max Gordon and Michael Conforto each had 2 hits, attempting to get the Beavers back into it, but the Aztecs walked away with the win. Cole Bayless took the loss, working 4 1/3 innings, allowing 7 hits, 8 runs, and 4 walks while striking out 4. Bayless is now 0 for 1 on the year. Saturday evening, the Beavers headed back to Cunningham Stadium to experience yet another hard loss in San Diego. Ryan Barnes' 2-run single in the second put the Beavs 1 run shy, but San Diego pulled away and took a 10-3 victory. Michael Conforto and Jake Rodriguez both had 3 hits, giving Conforto a new career high, going 3 for 3 on the day. Dan Child started for the Beavers and took the loss, making it 0 for 1 this season. He allowed 7 hits, and of the 5 runs scored, 4 were earned. Child went 3 1/3 innings and was relieved by freshman Carlos Rodriguez. But the Beavers ended on a high note as they wrapped up the trip on Sunday with a 13-5 win over Kansas State. Danny Hayes came up big for the Beavs with a grand slam, as well as Jake Rodriguez and Michael Conforto both hitting home runs. This is the 2nd home run of the season for Conforto, who continues to make a huge statement offensively for the Beavers. Tyler Smith led the Beavers with a 3-5 day, while Ryan Barnes and Ryan Dunn each had 2 hits. Matt Boyd came away with the win after relieving Riley Wilkerson in the 3rd. Boyd worked 4 2/3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 3 runs while walking 4 and striking out 2. He improved to 2-0 this season. The Beavers will now head to Surprise, Arizona Thursday morning for the Coca-Cola Classic. Make sure to tune into Beaver Sports Radio Network at 10 a.m. each day of the tournament to support your Beaver baseball.
Thanks, Corinne. While the baseball team might be struggling this early in the season, the Oregon State softball team is off to their best start since 2006. The Lady Beavs now have won 5 consecutive games as they had a great weekend at the Cathedral City Classic. With more on the softball team's weekend, here is Sports Show reporter Megan Miller.
The Oregon State softball team had a busy weekend as they traveled to California to host the annual Cathedral City Classic. The first matchup for the Beavers on Thursday was Iowa State. In the 3rd inning, shortstop Elizabeth Santana tallied her 2nd double of the day, giving the Beavs an early 1-0 lead. Following suit, 3rd baseman Desiree Beltran hit a double to left center field, putting the Beavs up by 2. In the 4th, Buska hit a 2-run RBI single, bringing the score 4-0. However, Iowa State bounced back in the 6th, quickly tying the game at 4. With a runner on 2nd and 3rd, it was Leah Cavastani who brought in the final run to give the Beavs a 5-4 win. Later in the evening, OSU took on New Mexico, but were unable to build a winning streak as they succumbed to a 10-6 loss. The Beavs were down until the 4th inning when Cavastani tallied her 3rd home run of the season to tie the score at 3. Buska then hit a 2-run RBI to give OSU a 5-3 lead. Unfortunately, the Beavs were only able to score 1 more run to New Mexico's 7. The Beavs continued the tournament as they took on Ohio State. Tina Andriano was on the mound all 7 innings, pitching her 10th complete game of her career. In the 5th inning, Buska and Santana were advanced to scoring position off a ground out by Beltran, and it was a hit from Aaron Guzzi that brought in the runs. Paige Hall would finish the game out with a 2-run RBI, giving the Beavs a 4-3 victory. Up next was the University of Iowa. The Beavers were down 1-0 until the 5th inning when a hit from Buska brought in the tying run. In the 8th, with Garcia in scoring position, Buska took to the plate again. With a slap bunt down the first baseline, Garcia headed home for the go-ahead run, but it was Marina DeMore who came in as the relief pitcher in the 4th that wielded off Iowa's offense and gave OSU a 2-1 win. The Beavers closed the tournament on a Sunday against Colorado State. Colorado jumped out to an early 2-0 lead, but the Beavers answered back. With runners on 2nd and 3rd, Allie Kutz drove the ball through the short 3rd gap, bringing Guzzi home and the Beavers within 1. It was freshman Danny Gilmore, though, that secured the win for the Beavs. With their 3rd home run of the season, Gilmore brought in 3 runs, giving the Beavs a 4-2 victory. OSU concluded their annual tournament with a 5-1 record. The Beavers finished off their California road trip with a couple of games in Fullerton against Maine. With a 4-0 win followed by a 13-0 win, the Beavs continued their season with a 13-4 record. Women's softball heads back to Fullerton, California to play in the De Marini Invitational this weekend.
Up in Boise over the weekend, the wrestling team put the cherry on top of their successful season, winning the inaugural Pac-12 Wrestling Championship. With more on wrestling, here's Beaver Sports reporter Kylie Martin.
The 16th-ranked Oregon State wrestling team traveled to Boise, Idaho last weekend to take part in the inaugural Pac-12 Wrestling Championship, where OSU took first place. The Beavers finished with 138 team points and 4 individual championships and an earned conference high of 7 automatic qualifying berths for the NCAA tournament. Mike Mangrum took the first individual title for the Oregon State in the 141-pound weight class in an overtime battle against the number 1 seeded Borislav Novikov from Cal Poly. Scott Sakaguchi was able to gain the second individual title at the meet for the Beavers in the 149-pound match for the title when he defeated Timmy Boon from Stanford with a major decision of 12-4. RJ Pena defeated the number 1 seeded Georgi Ivanov from Boise State in a battle that ended 5-2. He was able to clinch his spot as the third OSU wrestler to take an individual title. The fourth and final Beaver to win an individual title was Clayton Jack, who defeated Levi Cooper from Arizona State in the 285-pound weight class. Jack not only gained his bid to the championships with a decision of 3-0, but he is now the first back-to-back Pac-12 title winner at the heavyweight class in league history. The other 4 Oregon State wrestlers that will also be going to the NCAA championships are Pat Rollins, who finished second place overall in the 133-pound weight class, Garrett Drucker, who finished third place overall in the 133-pound weight class, Taylor Meeks with a second place finish in the 197-pound weight class, and finally Ty Vinson with a third place finish in the 184-pound weight class. The Oregon State wrestling team will be honored during the second half of the basketball game tonight as the Pac-12 champions. They will have a 2-week break before heading to St. Louis for the NCAA wrestling tournament starting March 15th. You can follow all the action on their Twitter account at OSU Wrestling.
The men's soccer team returned to the pitch this past weekend as they traveled up I-5 to play an exhibition match against the Portland Timbers at Geldwin Field. With more on the match, here is Sports Show reporter Megan Miller.
Last week, the Oregon State men's soccer team participated in an exhibition game versus the MLS team, the Portland Timbers. The Beavers were able to experience another pace of play as they competed against Timbers players Jake Gleason, Mike Chabala, Eric Brunner, Steve Purdy, Freddie Braun, Jack Dewsbury, Diego Chara, Eric Alexander, and Bright Dyke. OSU coach Steve Simmons commented that he was grateful that Timbers coach John Spencer played with many of his starting lineup, which gave the Beavers a better taste of what playing at the MLS level is like. Oregon State's Glenn Padden had the team's best chance to score in the late second half, but found his shot blocked by the Timbers keeper. The game's lone goal was scored in the 84th minute by Timbers' Hanier Mosquera. Ultimately, the Beavers fell short with the final score of Portland 1, Oregon State 0.
Thanks, Megan. And now to bring back the always popular fan favorite segment, Sports Trivia, is Jacob Noakes and Coy Tran.
I'm Jacob Noakes from the Beaver Sports Show, and today we're at the Oregon State Memorial Union to do sports trivia. Do you know who the quarterback of Oregon State football is?
Yes. Ryan Katz.
We have a football team? No, I have no idea.
Nope.
No.
Is it going to be Vaz? I guess we'll go with Canfield.
I know it.
Yeah, it's Sean Mannion.
The quarterback of Oregon State is Mannion, right? Sean Mannion.
Can you name 3 starters for the Oregon State's men's basketball team?
Okay, I'm just really gonna have to guess. I know Cunningham, or pretty sure that's his name. The man who had one of the best dunks of the year. I don't know anyone else though. I know the number. No, I don't. I lied. I don't know.
Ooh, no.
Joe Burton, Jared Cunningham.
Yeah, I know Jared Cunningham, Eric Moreland, and Joe Burton.
Cunningham, Joe Burton, and
I can go more. Maud Starks doing work, number 3 short man, excellent to see.
Jared Cunningham, Big Joe Burton, and also Eric Moreland.
Yeah, you got Jared Cunningham, Devon Collier, Angus Brandt,
Who's a better basketball player, Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, and why?
Well, I'd have to say Kobe Bryant because he just dribbles that ball so ferociously. And when he makes those baskets, it's just phew.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, definitely.
I probably have to say Kobe Bryant because he does have 5, championships, 5 rings, and LeBron is like probably the best athletic out of both of them. But as far as like all-around player, I would say Kobe Bryant.
Kobe, he's got the rings.
Kobe.
Ooh, the question that everyone wants to know. I'm going to have to go with Kobe. It hurts. I'm a big Laker hater, but LeBron has no rings. Kobe's got them. Once LeBron gets that first one this year, it'll be a little bit better of a discussion, but Kobe does have the rings and LeBron doesn't.
Would you rather be Tim Tebow or Jeremy Lin?
Jeremy Lin. He's got a better name.
Jeremy Lin. I don't like Tim Tebow that much.
Oh, Tebow's hilarious. I got to do Tebow.
I'll probably say Jeremy Lin because he's doing big things. You haven't seen an Asian do big things like that in the NBA, so I give props to him.
Probably Tim Tebow because I feel like Jeremy Lin is more of a flash in the pan kind of guy. He kind of came out of nowhere, and I feel like he's not going to stick around too long in the spotlight. Tim Tebow, I feel like, is more of a solid player. Even though he used to be like the second leading rusher, I feel like he's going to get his passing game up finally.
Tim Tebow for sure.
Jeremy Lin, just because Tim Tebow accepts the media hype way too much, and Jeremy Lin just kind of wants to play along with it and have fun. Plus, I'd love to play with Amari, my homie Amari Stoudemire, and Carmelo would be great, and that entire team.
If you could take 3 things to an island, you have to live on the island for the rest of your life, what 3 things would you take?
I would probably take, can like a magical refrigerator count, or is that?
Yeah, we can count that. We can count that.
Okay. Magical refrigerator. Probably a computer. Doesn't need internet, I guess. Something to dick around. Something to mess around on. And the third would be probably a friend or an animal.
An iPod with over 70,000 songs. I'll probably say my DJ equipment so I can throw parties on the island. And then I'd probably say, endless supply of food, as much food as I can bring.
Are people things?
Yes, we'll give you people.
Okay, I would take my spouse. I'd take a box of matches and a granola bar.
Swiss Army knife, my dog, and avocados.
Good choice.
TV with unlimited batteries and some food.
Probably, well, the Harry Potter series, that's one thing. Let's see, my cell phone that gets, reception everywhere so I could call for help, obviously, and a lifetime supply of sunflower seeds.
I definitely need to have mobile access on my phone or laptop because I always got to know what's going on with the world of sports. Next thing, I would probably want to find a way to get La Conga Rivas burritos there because they are the greatest thing ever. And finally, I would probably want to bring with me my boy Koitron.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight.
And be sure to tune in this Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on 88.7 KBVR for the gold standard in college sports talk radio, Against the Spread Sports Talk Radio, hosted by your own, me and Boon Kruger. And on behalf of all the Clippers fans out there, free Clipper Darryl.
And on behalf of Alex Crawford and everyone here at the Beaver Sports Show, I'm Boon Kruger. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see you back here next week.